like to introduce on stage the moderator of the next panel, who will outline the importance of women leadership in times of automation.
She herself is a female leader as managing director of Trending Topics, the new generation of media, addressing the topic of new generation of businesses.
After 11 years of living abroad, she decided to go back to her roots and set up the local outlet of the business and tech online media, TrendingTopics.bg.
Irina studied mass media communications and science in Vienna. She started her career in sales, first at the transcultural magazine Das Biber, and then joined Kopza Media Group.
Let's welcome on stage Irina Obushtarova.
Thank you. Oh, it's an honor to be here among such amazing ladies. When we speak about leadership, we often think of an exclusive group of people who might be managers, politicians, activists. We think of a position in our CV, whereas leadership means so much more than that. Being a leader, especially in transformational times like now, means standing up for others. It's having a mindset that embraces growth, flexibility, authenticity, responsibility in all domains of life. At the workplace, in our families, in the society we live in. Leadership requires us to ask ourselves again and again the question, what is my responsibility? How can I contribute to the well-being of those around me? And also very important, to my personal well-being. Thus, it is my personal belief that each of us has the potential to be a true leader, each of you in the audience, regardless of their job title, of their gender, of their mission. Having said that, I would like to introduce you to one of the first ladies that will ignite and spark the idea of female leadership, called Irma Mentzer. She has prepared a video, and about her, it's actually kind of interesting that if you ask her about women in technology, she will say to you, how much time do you have? Irma is an IT professional and a business strategist with a career of over 30 years. She has been with the World Bank for more than 20 years and has established herself in one very male-dominated domain. Currently, she spearheads the establishment of the bank's shared services center here in Sofia, and while one of her main goals is to inspire, to support, to attract more female talent to the local team of the World Bank. We can start with the video now.
I always smile when we talk about women in leadership. We talk about women in leadership as if it's a new invention, it's a eureka, it's a wow, it's such a novel, new idea. When the fact of the matter is that women have been in leadership positions, I would say transformational leader positions, since the beginning of time. One favorite leader of mine is Cleopatra. Cleopatra was known about the partnership that she had with Julius Caesar. She was exiled by her brother, and under her leadership, she bolstered the economy, she remained savvy and true to herself. Many don't understand the role she played in history as a strong female leader. Another female leader is Empress Wu Zetian. She's documented to be the only ruling monarch in China. She reduced the size of the army, she put scholars in power, and she promoted the status of women. I would say that was pretty transformational. And then I can think of many other women in leadership. For example, Ada Lovelace, the first computer programmer. Is it a surprise that the first computer programmer was female? Margaret Thatcher, Amelia Earhart, Florence Nightingale, Mother Teresa, Coco Chanel, and many more. Mother Teresa built a community, but she also changed the way people were served, the poorest of the poor. Florence Nightingale did the same for the nursing industry. She did things that others had not done before. Women have key leadership skills that are often innate to us. There is a Harvard Business article, and to ensure that I don't have this wrong, I'm going to quote, "Women outperform men in multiple key leadership skills such as taking initiative, being resilient, and developing others." Let's look at a few examples of modern-day women who actually use technology to transform their companies. The first one I want to mention is Mary Barra, who is the CEO of General Motors. She used technology to transform and actually save General Motors as she took the company in the direction of electronic vehicles. She modernized the way they do business. And the second one I want to mention is Beth Ford. Beth Ford is the CEO of Lentil Aids. She advocated for the rights of farmers. She connected urbanites to rural communities through technology and applications and technology platforms. And she truly injected technology in the thought and the concept of farm to table for food supply. So when we look at these women, whether we look at the women in history or the modern day women, we will see that they have some key skills. For example, when we think about Cleopatra, I would stress her ability to think strategically and also the value of strategic partnerships. When I think about Wu Zetian, I think about the bold policies she put in place, the emphasis she had on education, and how much she promoted women. When I think about the modern day leaders that we just talked about, they not only have a vision and they have clear leadership, but they're also understanding that without the use of technology, it would probably not be possible to have the transformational changes that they brought into their company. I would like to share with you the story of my paternal grandmother, Grandma Louisa. She was born in a time and place where the only place for women was that of wife and mother. Yet, she was able to start her business pretty transformational in her days because she was the first female in her local community to start a privatized transportation line when most people depended on transportation provided by the government. And if that in itself is not remarkable, let me tell you about the big adversity she had to overcome. My grandmother was illiterate. She could not read and write. She did all the calculations in her head. She had an amazing memory. She knew exactly to the penny what's coming in, what was going out, who to coordinate with, who to talk to. I recall being at her funeral, and I had my cousin standing next to me. And my cousin says to me, "You know, it's very difficult to cry over grandmother because she was rather mean." Was my grandmother mean? My perspective was a little bit different. Yeah, she was a little, okay, maybe a lot mean. But I was more fascinated by the fact that she broke the mold, she started her own business, and she had not one, not two, but 13 children. Right at that moment, I made a decision for myself. If I ever had a daughter, I would name her Louisa. Years later, when my daughter was born, I did call her Louisa. And my cousins, if you remember, my father had 12 siblings, so I have a lot of first cousins. When they said to me, "Are you crazy? You're just going to have a mean little girl." And I smiled to myself and said, "No, I am going to celebrate the woman in leadership that my grandmother displayed, that she did something so transformational with such adversity that she remains my inspiration." There's one thing though that I wish Grandmother Louisa would have done different. When she was too old to run her business, there was nobody who could run her business for the simple reason that she did not teach anybody, male or female in the family, how to do so. She didn't share her knowledge and she didn't nurture. And therefore, the business died. That is one thing I wished that she would have done differently. I would like to leave you with 3 thoughts. Do not be afraid to have a different perspective. Just like my perspective of grandma was very different than my cousin's. Be authentic. All these leaders we talked about, they displayed a great deal of authenticity. Being authentic, in addition to being true to yourself, also means being the best version of yourself and being true to the best version of yourself. And the best version of yourself includes a growth mindset. Continue to learn, continue to help others, continue to contribute to community. Always be willing to see that other perspective, even if at first glance it doesn't make sense. And last but not least, nurture. It is very important that we nurture and cultivate the next generation of not only female, but also male leaders. Because when we don't nurture, and we don't do knowledge sharing, and we don't take care of our communities, and we don't give back all the knowledge and all the goodness that we have enjoyed as female leaders, then we will be doing our new female leaders, but also our male leaders and the community a huge big service. Leave the world better than you found it. I'm going to ask you to leave the human being a better human being than when you met.
The next inspiring guest, which will connect us through a video Igniter's keynote, is Diana Stefanova, a lady that probably many of you already know. Diana is an experienced executive with over 20 years of professional experience in a variety of areas like general management, corporate and business development, business and R&D operations, and finance. During her career at VMware, Diana has actively worked on improving the business climate in the local ecosystem, and as of December 2019, she has taken a new role of Vice President Global Site Strategy and is responsible now for driving the cohesive strategy spanning across VMware global sites. She is also a venture capital partner at the Brightcap Ventures, and she has prepared a short keynote which, again, will tap a bit more in the role of women in technology today.
Hello, my name is Diana Stefanova, and I'm a part of VMware in Bulgaria. I lead VMware in Bulgaria, in Europe, but also I have been given an opportunity to lead global site strategy for VMware globally. I have to say that I'm extremely happy to be part of this conference, SHEleader. This is a very important topic, and how technology will impact us all and will enable us as leaders is a very, very important topic that I would like to share and talk to you about today. So let me share my screen. So as I mentioned, we'll talk about the women leadership and the future of work. I'll start with a little bit of stats just to set the background. We live in unprecedented times. For the last 6 months, we have transformed the way we work, the way we live, the way we study and do education and health services, the way we connect with each other, and all of the social aspects. This pandemic had to really transform everything that we do on a daily basis. Some studies have been done by McKinsey and Gartner. And while in the past we only had a few people in each company working remotely or flexibly, now 91% of the organizations have implemented remote work during this COVID-19 situation. At the same time, the predictions are that by 2030, the remote way of working will the demand for remote way of working will be increased by 30%. Also, about 48% of the people of the average worker will need to use more technology in the future. And this is actually a very central point. Technology is in the center of everything we do and will empower the new way of working, the future of work, and the success of us all, women, and the entire industry. If I have to summarize what the future of work really means and what the future of work really is, the future of work is really distributed. And what distributed means is working in distributed environment, accessing data, applications, connecting with our colleagues and even friends in a very distributed manner, from anywhere, from any device, and collaborating in a very distributed and creative manner as well. VMware. Many of you might have heard a lot about the VMware and our focus on building, running, managing, connecting, and protecting any application on any client, on any device. We have been supporting our customers and partners for years with their digital transformations, the journey that they're all undergoing to make sure that they adapt to the new way of working, to the technology, and provide a new set of digital services to their customers as well. Well, digital transformation now becomes even more important than ever, because when speaking about any device, imagine you can access your data and application from any device, from your phone, from your tablet, desktop, from your car, or even the plane. Well, the cloud environment, the different applications are an opportunity, but also a challenge. And VMware is helping with all of that, because having the entire infrastructure in the cloud, whether it's public or private, actually helps us be successful in our focus around accessing any data on any device and any app. Speaking of technology, and technology being in the center of this future of work, there's so many emerging technologies, from artificial intelligence to Internet of Things to augmented reality or quantum computing. Sometimes it feels overwhelming. There's a vast landscape of new technologies, and it feels that it's hard for us to get a handle of them all. Well, we have to build a more logical approach to those technologies. And I'm here to offer a four-pillar type of approach, or the so-called 4 tech superpowers. Let's start with cloud. Cloud gives us unlimited compute reach, an opportunity to access infrastructure without really having to invest upfront for this infrastructure. This gives us an opportunity to start a business and pay up with our credit card on a pay-as-you-need basis. Mobile gives us unprecedented reach, ability to access data from any device or access application from any device is essential. Edge and IoT gives us the opportunity, the power to merge the digital and physical worlds. Through digital interfaces, we can manage our cars, our homes, whether it's refrigerators or TVs or lights, or anything that is physical in the world. With AI and ML, we have an opportunity to manage data, huge amounts of data, get a hold of that data, understand the data, and take autonomous actions based on this data. We spoke about the new way of working, the distributed environment, and something that the pandemic offered to us, but it's here to stay. This new distributed way of working is here to stay, and it's an opportunity for us to adapt to that. We also spoke about the technology being in the center of this change as well, an enabler of this change. And how is this change going to impact us women? What can we do to be successful in this new world? Number one, embrace technology, because it can drive innovation. Leverage technology to be successful in the future. Create your way. Think outside of the box. And technology is a true enabler for us all. Technology also gives us an opportunity to be creating new businesses, be entrepreneurs. So all we need to do is be bold and brave, because through technology, we can start a business really fast. And we women are very creative. We have great ideas. We just need to embrace the technology and embrace the idea, be bold and brave, and don't be afraid of mistake. In the technology world, one of the things we would like to improve is the diversity of the gender diversity, because the diversity will sparkle new innovation. The different points of view are the triggers. They fuel innovation, and that is something that all of us women can contribute towards. The other call out for us all is really to embrace the new way of working. This distributed way of working, the one that we operate in today, this will give us more flexibility. We'll be able to choose where, how, and when we work. That will offer better work-life balance for us all. It will also open a lot of new career opportunities because location is not going to be a factor anymore. So we can apply for jobs that are not in the immediate location that we live and operate in. However, just being brave and going after our goals is going to be important to achieve and be successful in the new career opportunities that are ahead of us. Something that I've been thinking of, really this new way of working requires a high degree of communication, new skill of communicating, over-communicating even. Also, the empathy, understanding people even remotely is going to be essential. And those are all women characteristics. So leading with empathy is going to enable the new way of working. And that is something we should leverage as well. And all of us women need to leverage in the future. With that, I will leave you with a few words. Be adaptable. Embrace the technology. Embrace the power of technology. Embrace the flexibility the new way of working actually gives us. Be bold and brave, innovate your way, and don't be shy of starting new business opportunities and pursuing. Hello, my name is Diana Stefanova.
We definitely live in times when we need to be brave. In the next video, Iravan Hira from HP and Ludmila Malcheva will present a new initiative. As the managing director of Hewlett Packard Enterprise Bulgaria, operated by Selecium, Iravan Hira truly believes in inclusion and diversity. Together with Ludmila Malcheva, who is the co-founder and CEO of Right Image, an agency specialized in projects involving digital marketing, PR, and other B2B marketing activities, they will now present this inspiring new initiative for women.
Hello, I'm Iravan Hira and I'm the Managing Director of Hewlett Packard Enterprise in Bulgaria, operated by Selecium. It's a really great pleasure for me to be part of SHEleader at Digital International Conference 2020. Let me use this opportunity to first thank Sasha and her entire team for making this conference possible, especially in today's tough time when we are trying to fight COVID-19 and the economical crisis. But nevertheless, Sasha, her team, and all of us, we believe that one of the most important subjects of today's time of our society is the topic of diversity and inclusion. At Hewlett Packard Enterprise, we believe that the strengths of our company are our people. And we have seen that the people can contribute with their energy, with their passion, with their enthusiasm, ideas and talent only then when they feel that they are treated equally, no matter of their color, of their sex, or of their religion. That's why we believe that this is one of the key success factors not only for Hewlett Packard Enterprise, but for any company, for any society. Let me wish to the conference a great success. I would like to wish you all to stay healthy and to use this opportunity in the next 2 days to meet new friends, to make new relationships, and the most important, to share ideas, the ideas how we can transform our society to be more diversified, to be more open, and to include more opinions. I'm really happy that in Bulgaria, in HPE, more than 50% of our employees are females. And I believe not because of this we are successful, but this makes us really a very exciting company to work. Looking forward to see you all very soon.
Hello, I'm Malcheva, founder and CEO of Right Image. I'm happy to be with you today at SHEleader conference and digital event. Thank you for the invitation to the organizers and to Stefanova. I have been in the IT industry for many years, and I can tell you that in the beginning, like 15 years ago, it was mostly male-dominated world. This didn't make me to give up or to change my career. I really stayed in this world, and today I'm happy to see that more women are joining and they are really successful in this world. Not only the IT world, everywhere there are women who are really successful, who are not afraid to follow their dreams. Even they see some obstacles or they have to do some transformation in their lives. This is why we started a very interesting and inspiring, I believe, initiative and program with Hewlett Packard Enterprise. This is an initiative about women and how they go through life transitions. We would like to support women all over the world by sharing interesting, inspirational stories of other women who went through life transitions, who were brave enough to follow their dreams, even they had to do some changes in their personal life or in their careers. We invited women from various industries and from various, let's say, parts of the world to share their stories, why they changed something in their lives, how they did it, and what was the result, why they're happy living now with these changes, and how they did it. So we are happy to announce these initiatives, and you can find more on www.womeninspirations.com. I would like to thank one more time to Hewlett Packard Enterprise who supported this initiative of women leadership and entrepreneurship. Thank you very much. Goodbye. For more information about this initiative, you can visit www.womeninspirations.com. Thank you very much and see you soon.
Automation is estimated to displace between 40 and 160 million women worldwide from their current jobs, says a report of McKinsey Global Institute from last year. At the same time, future jobs will challenge us not only to develop our IT and digital skills, but also use more of our social and emotional and higher cognitive skills. Further, what we can observe right now with the outbreak of COVID is that digital transformation has accelerated, and these trends and developments along with it. For women in the new economy, this could mean both a risk but also an opportunity. Without further ado, I would like to introduce to you 4 inspiring leaders who will join us today at the stage. First of them is the Deputy Minister of Labor and Social Policy, Mrs. Zornitsa Roussinova. Please welcome to the stage. In her capacity of Deputy Minister, she is responsible for the EU funds, international programs and projects, international cooperation, coordination of EU-related issues. Further, she was responsible for the preparation of the Bulgarian presidency of the Council of the EU in 2018. Prior to that, Mrs. Zornitsa Roussinova was a Minister of Labor and Social Policy from May 2016 to January 2017, and a Deputy Minister of Labor and Social Policy in the periods from March 2012, March to March 2013, and November 2014 and January 2016. Mrs. Roussinova has an ample experience in program and project management, which she acquired while working for the UN Development Program as the US Agency for International Development and the Bulgarian Swiss Cooperation Program. She holds a master's degree in international economic relations from the University for National and World Economy and a master's degree in Bulgarian and English from the University St. Clement Ohridsky in Sofia. Welcome to the stage. Our next inspiring leader is Borina Andrieu, currently managing director of Wilmotte Associés. Borina Andrieu has, throughout her career, managed to impose herself in one predominantly male world of architecture. She has been involved in numerous emblematic creations of Jean-Michel Wilmotte, including the renovation and transformation of the, can you help me with the pronunciation, Halle Frésien into the world's largest startup incubator, Station F. Also, the Russian Orthodox and Spiritual Cultural Center, the Palace Hotel du Tétia in Paris, the Vista Palace in south of France, the headquarters for Google's at King's Cross in London, the Ferrari Sporting Management Center in Maranello, an ecological park in Baku, and also the Moscow Urban, the new Greater Moscow Urban Design. Last but not least, Contemporary Art Center in Beijing and a Museum of Islamic Art in Doha. Just to name just a few examples. In 2018, the French president promoted her to the rank of Knight of the French Legion of Honor in recognition of her work. Further, she is also a Knight of the Order of Arts and Letters bestowed by France's Minister of Culture. Borina was born and grew up in Bulgaria before starting her international journey in 1982. She is a mother of 2 daughters and a son. Borina studied history of art at the École du Louvre, international relations and finance at Sciences Po Paris, and literature and communications at the Sorbonne University. I would like now to welcome to the stage Krassimira Raycheva, who is the country manager of Visa for Bulgaria, in charge of companies' business interests in the country. In her role, she promotes Visa products and services among the local financial institutions. Krassimira is responsible for the company's relations with the banks and other organizations working in cashless payment sector. She is also responsible for implementing Visa's new innovative methods of payment, including contactless and digital payments. Krassimira has been working for Visa since 2004. Prior to that, she was managing various projects in the banking sector for IBM Bulgaria, and she was also a part of a commercial bank as the head of its card payments department. Krassimira holds a master's degree in electronics from the Technical University in Sofia and a master's degree in project management from George Washington's University. She has also a diploma from the Henley Management College. Krassimira is a mother of 2 sons. Last but not least, I would like to introduce Hristo Borisov, who is the co-founder and the CEO of Payhawk, a fast-growing business spending platform that issues company cards with automated expense management and built-in spending policies. Hristo is a computer science and business administration graduate at the American University in Bulgaria. He began his career at the company Telerik, and he was responsible for developing solutions that later on pretty much helped for Telerik to become one of the biggest exits in the Bulgarian tech sector, and was sold for, I believe, 63 million to Progress. Hristo is a father of a daughter. I hope. So, before we start, I would like to ask each of you, in the times of digital transformation and automation, as we all know, and as I said in the introduction, women are more endangered of losing their jobs than men. Why is it important to talk about female leadership today, in your opinion?
Well, first, thank you, and thanks for being part of this wonderful conference today. And maybe it's a coincidence, maybe it's planned, but because of COVID, we have the opportunity to have this conference today. Today is very nice and womenish holiday in Bulgaria. It's Saint Sofia. It's the symbol of hope, faith, and love. These are all feminine types of characteristics that help women to survive and to keep the family. And I think that this is quite important now, because when we talk about digital transformations, we should look at this not as a something frightening for women to lose their jobs, but as an opportunity for women leadership, for women to have a better balance of their careers and their family life, which means that we should look at this digital transformation on the side of having the opportunity first to upgrade your skills. And this is what is the main target of our policies this year and in the coming year, and mobilizing funds for that. And also to keep the balance of the family, to have to be successful in your career, but to be able to spend more time with your kids. There are a lot of challenges. There are a lot of challenges in Bulgaria, because when we talk about Bulgaria, on one hand, we are on European leader in women in the ITC business, but on the other hand, we are almost on the last place of overall skills of Bulgarians working with computers. So we are in the two different types of up and down. So we'll have to do a lot of efforts. And I think that the role of women in that efforts is very crucial, because there is an old Indian saying, when you educate a man, you educate a man. When you educate a boy, you educate a man. But when you educate a woman, you educate generations. So if we attract girls to be more digital, to feel that this is something indispensable to be successful in your career, and to be successful in your career, it's so normal as it is normal to raise children, to do the cooking and do the shopping, then I think we should really prove that we are leaders.
Thank you. Is it normal? Is it still space where we need to talk about female leadership? What do you think, Borina?
Well, I think it's very important to talk about women leadership, because you know, the economical world was created by men's value initially. So means efficacy, strength, toughness, and we all know that it's not enough anymore. So I think, for instance, today, 15% of the leaders in France are women, only 15%, which is for a very developed country and careful country about women, it's really a very little segment. So I think we women, we have this great capacity and opportunity to take advantage of difficulties, because we are very much adaptable and flexible, because all our life is like that. We have to adjust at any minute. So I think the more difficulties we have, the better we get, because somebody was saying everything which doesn't kill you will make you stronger. I think we should take this opportunity of the difficulties that they are announcing everywhere and take the power in a better way. You know, I was talking in a, sorry about you, Hristo, but you know, I was
That's why I'm here.
But we said no men, no panel. So we are in the right you know, distribution. Anyway, I was talking in a conference last week about the new way of working, the new working space, because, you know, it's a big subject in the sense that we all went for open spaces in all offices because it was good, and we found out that it's a disaster and it has to be, retaught. And the moderator was a man, very open-minded. He said, "Oh, tell me, it's so difficult. How do you feel as a woman to manage all that men in your office?" I say, listen, first of all, women are used to manage since the very beginning in their families. I said, you know this with your wife. So he was a little bit, and I said, in my firm, we have 52% of women and 48% of men. So I mean, that's the picture. So go on.
Now it's time to punch back.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think the most important reasons why we should continue this discussion and conversation is that I would love to see a lot more entrepreneurs starting companies because it is true that automation is going to eat a lot of low skilled or such kind of easy to automate jobs, but at the end of the day I think we should talk about those things so that we can really break the stereotypes, because I don't think those stereotypes should exist anymore. And I think I even wouldn't say that whether toughness was an important thing at the beginning. I would say that as Miss Mentzer said during the video, resilience is one of the best skills that any woman can have. And I think, and I've seen it myself, that women can be much more tough than men in certain conditions. So I wouldn't relate to any kind of a specific skill set. I would just think that it should be a level playing field, because right now it is all about intelligence. And as we are increasing the required skill set for any job, emotional intelligence is also playing a big part of that. And I think this is where women are much stronger than men in that set. So I think it is really important on our side to, especially myself as a person who is, hiring people, this to be, absolutely no question about, race, sex, or, position. And at the end of the day, it is about the skill set. And I think we really need to encourage more women to pursue those careers, and to just say that there is actually absolutely no difference, whether you want to be a CEO and whether you're a female or a male. You have a level playing field, and I think the society and the world in which, for example, I want my daughter to grow is exactly that.
Thank you. At the male perspective, Krassi?
Well, I will continue on his thought about emotional intelligence. Really, in this world where all that difficulties came to our life everywhere, we need a lot of emotional intelligence, and women are best in that, I believe. To kind of try to survive, to try to adapt to the new conditions, to the new environment, so that we bring something new to the world. And also those so-called soft skills, something that really it's quite necessary in today's environment. Okay, you may be the best doctor, the best technician, the best whatever in your
field,
profession. But if you don't have those skills to understand what's around you and what's coming up afterwards, you would never survive at some point.
My next question is actually exactly on the topic of the skills, but I would like to move that into a more macro level. What type of leadership would we need on an institutional level in order to create the structures which will support the development of these skills needed in the advancing automated future, let's call it like that? How could we avoid the brain waste of female but also of male professionals in this transition?
Well, I think that this year is quite challenging for all of us, and to prove that we are a good female leadership team, you can see the team of our ministry with the minister women, 3 of the deputies are women and only 1 female as a deputy minister, but this is not the story. I think that in the morning our Bulgarian Commissioner, Ms. Maria Gabriel, have introduced you to the European perspective. But we are now eager to see how the negotiations with the European Parliament would go to the new package for the new generation of Europe. And for Bulgaria, this is very important because we are able to mobilize a lot of funding in order to challenge our internal disbalances of skills and what is needed for the labor market. Right now, I would say that the labor market in Bulgaria is quite fluctuating. In the beginning of this year, we had a labor market where the only big problem and challenge was the shortage of labor force, the brain drains, and the shortage of people, physically people to go into the free jobs. Then we had a very big scale of unemployment. Now it's a little bit stable, but our predictions for the end of the year and beginning of next year is go again to have increase of unemployment, which makes us in the same time find solution for different types of problems. But probably the most universal solutions for skills is the ITC skills. As I said, Bulgaria is almost on the last place for overall population and working force with ITC skills. So what we are working now is to design 4 types of program based on the European standards of level of ITC skills. And together with social partners, with workers and unions, to establish for each profession and for each job in a company or in business, what is the needed ITC skills in order to be able to provide enough funding for people to train themselves. For example, if you work as a lawyer in a small company or work in a court, and a lawyer in a big corporation, you just need different type of ICT skills. So these are all things that should be taken into consideration, and then we'll mobilize a lot of efforts to support people. Our plans are to have massive trainings for almost all people that are on working age in Bulgaria. The other big challenge for the government is to support now companies to be more digital and to be able to transform for the new COVID situation, to be able to change working solutions, workplaces, to be able to provide the employees with the digital devices in order to have distance type of work, to help children with the new types of education that the school system is employing. And this is a rolling process, together with one thing that is quite important for us also, to support families and women to have better solutions for their careers. One of the things that is always raising as a problem for us is the shortage of kindergartens, especially in big cities like Sofia. So one of the solutions is to support companies to organize places to take care for children, like kindergartens in the working place. This is something now that we have committed 30 million level. It's an open call for proposals, and maybe in 2 weeks companies will be able to apply in order the government to fund them with European funding to organize that. But in order to really be able to mobilize all these resources, we need clearly good consensus of our community. So I would say that all of you, in your capacity of working people or people representing different type of organizations, be proactive, look at what the government is publishing for public consultations in order to really be able to mobilize and to be very practical in our efforts. And one of the phenomena right now in Bulgaria is that because of COVID, there are a lot of young people who have stayed in the country. Last year and the last 2 years, we've been quite active with trying to attract young people who study in a high-profile university in Europe, because we think that if we attract these young people to come back to Bulgaria, this is our future, because it's not so bad that these young people have gone to study in Sorbonne or in other prestigious university in Europe. yes, our university needs to upgrade their systems and to improve the quality of education. But we see that these young people, they are able to compete with the brightest children in Europe. So which means that we have bright students who, after completing the university, can contribute to Bulgarian economy. We see that many of these young people, like Hristo, are trying to find their place to work in Bulgaria. So these are just good reasons why we should give more examples for such young people in order to provide them with the necessary funding and to establish their businesses here. And I think this trend will be increasing in the coming years, maybe because of COVID, but this is one of the good trends for Bulgaria.
And that's actually wonderful to hear that there are good news in the COVID and that it's actually leading to a brain gain rate of young people. Krassimira, my next question goes to you. I would assume that advancing to a leadership position in the financial sector is especially in an established organization like Visa, which is very male-dominated structure, you can correct me if I'm wrong, must be challenging. But doing so in the dynamics of digital transformation seems to me even harder. Is it possible to achieve that without adopting the already established male style of leadership? And how do you find the leader in you as a woman?
Well, you would be surprised to hear that actually in the company I'm working for, in Visa, it's quite opposite. Starting from me as a country manager here in Bulgaria to my manager, the general manager for Greece, Cyprus and Bulgaria, and to the regional manager, director, all up to the European CEO, we are women. Also, actually globally, 40% of the working force in Visa are women in the leadership team. In the region, 6 out of 9 country managers are women. So many of the leadership positions are actually taken by women. And in the company in general, we kind of believe in the inclusive leadership, and this is what we are adopting in the company. And all those corporate kind of equality and acceptable of equal pay and all those no difference on the attitude on religion, on gender, etc. Everything is kind of corporate belief. And even here in the team in Bulgaria, 50% of the people are women. Actually, we're balanced here in Bulgaria.
Wow.
So
that's impressive. Thank you. I might not be the only one, but could we ask for some water on the stage? Borina, we had an interview with you in Trending Topics. Thank you for that. But back then you shared that you believe that appointing women based on their gender could put women in a very vulnerable position of being accused, being hired because they're women and not because they're competent. At the same time, in 2019, the proportion of women in senior management roles was still at 29% on a global scale. In 2020, this percentage remains the same, so there is no change. As a woman who undoubtedly managed to establish leadership in one predominantly male-dominated field, like architecture, who actively supports female professionals along with your career, what do we need to do to raise those numbers?
You know, when I'm saying that sometimes it can put a woman in a delicate position in the sense that they say, well, she got it because she's a woman. Because, now, for instance, we had the example of our new ambassador, French ambassador here in Sofia. She is a woman, very successful. She will tell about her story, which is absolutely amazing, saying that everything is possible. Many people said, well, she was appointed because they decided to do a kind of balance between nomination for men and women in this field. And it's everywhere a little bit. You know, we have the same thing in the, council of administration of different big companies, etc. I think it's a matter of the right person on the right place. And of course, it would be fantastic if spontaneously the women were appointed. But very often, you know, that it has to go through some, how can I say, imposed numbers. You know, the things of the quota usually touches the most vulnerable or the most, how can I say, minorities. And women are not a minority. We are a majority on earth. So I don't want to reduce the, how can I say, for me the leadership is natural, and I don't think there are professions more women-like or more men-like. You know, it's a matter of competence. And you know, very often say, well, a little girl, she should be a doctor, a nurse, I don't know, a personal assistant, and a mentor. It's over. I mean, there is no gender appropriation on the board, even though the mentalities are very hard to move and to transform. But I think we have now this opportunity through education, what you said. Really, I think this kind of digital transformation that we are going through, and this, how can I say, the access to the information, it's a big, big plus. Because you know very well that women are very good students. I mean, we learn very well. And you can see it in all figures in the, in schools. Usually, girls are better students than boys. Afterwards, things are changing. What Chiara was talking about, this kind of presence of women in the more precise sciences, that mathematics, physics, chemistry, technology, etc., it's something that has to come up more in the Western countries. In the Eastern countries, with the educational system, this was already something very, very popular. And I think today what we have to do is, as I said, the all for economy cannot survive. We have to have this intellectual vision and also this sentimental and emotional vision. So the combination of the women leadership is very strong because we have this combination of both. Means you can make your heart and your brains work at the same time. And you know, to be a woman leader, it's a very important thing because we can listen, we are more humble, we have a strategy in we are hard workers, and we are tough, as you said, because we are, but also, you know, the fact that we teach the others, we foster the coming generation, and this is a very important thing. And just one example in my field, you know, for instance, we created a foundation for young architects and urban planners 15 years ago because we found out that nobody was teaching in the universities and schools of architecture how to refurbish, how to transform a city or a building. And throughout the competition that we launched for young architects all over Europe, it makes a big sense because in all our countries there is no more space to build from scratch. Usually you have to transform a land or a piece of the city, and this is how we created the biggest digital incubator in the world, which is in Paris, the Station F, in an old railway station. So through education it's also coming.
And we have an idea for a Station B, by the way, which I would like to discuss with you later. But let's see how it is in the entrepreneurship sector, in the startup sector. So Payhawk is, you told me just before that currently you have about 33% women in the company, in a tech company, which, in my understanding, is actually surprisingly high. Is this a result of a conscious effort, or to hire more female professionals, or is it just coincidence because you hired the best people for the job?
I would say it is more like coincidence, but exactly because we have never thought about, who we hire. We are looking for the skill set, and I think that's why the most important conversation should be about education and skill set, and talking about that anybody should not be afraid to pursue a career, whether it's in technology, high science, and other sectors that are usually more male dominated. And what we're trying to do as a strategy right now, and this is literally relating to, obviously we are not able to go and create a program for education and so on with our resources, but what we can do as a startup company is that we are currently trying to hire a lot of people from abroad, Bulgarians that went to study abroad, got their degree there. And just one example, we just hired a lady in Munich, in Germany. She's a Bulgarian, graduated from one of the top schools there, worked for about a year and a half, and then we managed to find her. And at the beginning, obviously, we are hiring her to work from Germany, but we asked her for a 2 months training in Sofia, so she's coming for the first time in 6 years to spend 2 months in Sofia as training, and we are already starting to plant the seeds that she might be convinced to stay for longer, because I think one of the things that people look for is really the environment. And if you see that, you can create a very open environment, very diversified environment, and an environment where everybody can equally grow and exceed, and you can build products, high technology products. We are currently competing with 3 companies across Europe. One is in Paris, one is in Copenhagen, and the other is in London. And we are currently successfully acquiring a lot of customers from those competitors, and we are also attracting a lot of venture capital to do that, and growing the team. In less than 2 years, we are now close to a team of 25 people. When we started 2 people 2 years ago. And we currently have not only hired this person from Germany, but we also hired 3 or 4 people that used to live for 15, 16 years across Europe and decided to come back, and we managed to join forces with them and to have them on the team. So I think those people are the best ambassadors that things are changing, and that things are now on a level where they can have an amazing career regardless of where they are. And I think exactly the new norm and the COVID situation is actually a huge potential for Bulgaria to attract those people, because right now it is normal to hire people that are working remotely, and this is not only for startups. Obviously that has been always something that we are flexible about, and we are more open to that, but now it is starting to become from both sides. A lot of big companies are opening that, so not only Bulgarian companies can hire a lot of Bulgarians that are working abroad and try to get them in Bulgaria in the short term, but also a lot of people might decide to work in those big companies in the Western world from Bulgaria without having to go there. And that's also a good opportunity, and I think that's also related to the skill set, being able to go those and acquire this skill set required to pursue a career in leadership, a career in technology, a career in a lot of industries which are typically male dominated, because at the end of the day now it's becoming even more level playing field, because even for certain jobs, toughness, physical characteristics is not important anymore if you are behind the computer. So you actually are not interfacing with that. And the other thing is that with the automation that we talked about, the need of use of physical tools is going away, and the need of using more your intelligence and emotional intelligence and skill set is becoming more important, and that is regardless of any physical, let's say, characteristics of a person.
Exactly. Which actually leads us automatically to my next question, which was exactly on the skill set, but more when we talk about leadership. Maybe very shortly of you, what do you think are like the 3 most important skills that leaders of today who will thrive in the times of automation, but also now in the post-COVID world, which we know we talk about distributed teams and organizations. We talk about organizations which become more communities and less companies. What is the skill set that we will need as leaders?
Well, we should not underestimate the fact that COVID would make our society different. Economics would be different, our everyday life is now different, and it will be more different. We are seeing that even certain sectors like tourism is totally transforming. So to be successful now, there are different skills that people would need, and for me I think that one of the very important skills for a good leader is to listen to everyone, to try to communicate well and to explain, and to try to be more patient, because sometimes we have such a dynamic life and we were always eager to speed up things. But if you look at the car, quite often when I'm down, I use this example. When you drive the car, you push the gas. But sometimes when you lift your foot from the gas, still the car is speeding up, no matter of your efforts. So we just need to be more patient.
Thank you. Borina, what do you think?
Well, I completely agree with that. But also I would say a good leader should make decisions. The second thing, he has to be enough humble to understand that sometimes you're allowed to make a mistake, and then you can repair the mistake. And I think, but the most important thing, I think a leader should be inspiring. Because if you inspire people, they will follow you. And you can transmit in this. So it's also the capability to transmit. If you don't transmit what was saying, our friend in the beginning with her grandmother, the business stopped because she didn't do the transmission.
Yes.
And you can have the best skills in the world if you're not able to transmit it. It's over. So inspire.
So I think one of the most important things I would say is really be able to adapt to change, and that only happens by not being afraid to change and to accept change, because always in the curve of change, the first thing is resistance. You're ignoring that there is a change, then you're resisting the change, and then you're realizing that there is a change, and then you start changing. And I think we as a company, because right now we see that, in our world where we are, bringing, the next generation of payments and company cards, and we are talking a lot about the new normal and the autonomy of employees to be able to have a company card and to be able to use a company card instead of spending their own funds and to wait to be reimbursed. We're actually starting a podcast that talks about the untold stories of change. And our idea is to really tell those stories of how people are changing and how this is happening. And actually the first episode is with a lady called Raycheva. She used to work at the World Bank in Washington for 8 years, and she is one of our first employees at Sofia. She came to Sofia last year not knowing anything about Sofia, and she ended up in a small startup of 6-7 people as her first job. And the transition from Washington, working at a company as World Bank, organization like World Bank, and starting in a team of 7 people in Sofia is a lot of change. And this is where we really try to show the angle of change, and hopefully that change would be just make it less scary for a lot of people to experience it. Whether you are moving to the new age of digitalization, automation, paperless, or whatever your challenge is, we want to tell those stories of change, and we really believe that that is something that would position well and is not talked about much. And I think that is a skill set that is super relevant right now.
Krassi, did we miss something important? What do you think?
Well, of course, I agree with everything what the previous colleagues said here. But I think one thing is very important in the in the leadership also in order to develop this, your company, everything, to spot the right talent. You need to spot the right talent. You need to develop this talent, and this is very important in. I would say everywhere in the entrepreneurship companies, in the big companies, so that you develop the talent. And I was very, glad to hear this morning Commissioner Gabriel to speak about that necessity of skills in the women that we need to develop everywhere. Of course, all these, every leader should be innovative. You should really don't be afraid to take the risk. Of course, there might be some backwards, etc., but you need to take the risk to innovate and to work ahead. You should be a visionary. What's next?
Exactly.
That's also a very critical point. I totally agree with you. Development of talent is very important. Supporting also younger women, I believe, is also important. And since our time is up, and I believe that we can talk like for hours, I hope that we will have the chance to do that outside. But maybe I would like to finish exactly on this thought of Krassi with a quote of Madeleine Albright, who said once that there is a special place in hell for women who don't help each other. So let's mingle and see how we can help each other become better leaders for the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.